Hello, everyone. I'm Natasha, your host for today. If you're new here, I want to tell you that we upload a new English learning video every single day to help you speak naturally, sound confident, and reach your next level of fluency. In today's masterclass, we're going to focus on the exact English phrases I use every single day, the ones that make conversations sound real, natural, and fluent. These are phrases that native speakers use constantly, but most learners forget to practice. By learning and using them, you'll not only improve your English speaking and listening skills, but also start to think in English. Without hesitation, we'll explore how to use these daily phrases in different real-life situations, at home, at work, in cafes, on calls, when you agree or disagree, when you show surprise or emotion, and along the way, you'll get practice exercises and speaking prompts to help you use them naturally and confidently. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to English in Minutes and press the bell icon so you never miss a new English learning episode. That helps you grow every day. So, take a deep breath, get comfortable, and get ready to speak English confidently with me. Let's get started. Let's begin with the kind of phrases that we all use without even realizing how powerful they are in daily communication. For example, phrases like, "You know what I mean? That makes sense," or "I totally get you." These are small, simple, but incredibly important because they keep conversations alive and make you sound fluent and connected. Imagine you're talking to a friend about something that happened at work. Your friend says, "My boss asked me to redo the presentation even though I stayed up all night working on it." You can respond naturally by saying, "Oh, I totally get you. That must be so frustrating." This small phrase, "I totally get you," shows empathy, understanding, and natural flow. Now, repeat after me slowly. I totally get you. I totally get you. Feel how the words roll off your tongue naturally. Try saying it with emotion. I totally get you. When you want to show real understanding, here's another one. That makes sense. When someone explains something and you want to confirm that you understand, say, "Yeah, that makes sense." It's soft, natural, and very common in advanced spoken English. Practice with me. "Yeah, that makes sense." Try again. A little faster this time. "Yeah, that makes sense. Excellent." Now let's practice using both phrases in a mini conversation. You say, "I couldn't finish my report because my computer crashed." Your friend says, "Oh, I totally get you. That must have been so annoying." You reply, "Yeah, it was. But now everything's fixed, so it's fine." Your friend responds, "That makes sense. Did you notice how natural that sounds? None of those lines sound robotic or textbook. They sound like real conversation, and that's exactly what we want to practice today." When you speak English every day, it's not about using difficult or fancy words. It's about using phrases that carry emotion, intention, and rhythm. That's what fluent speakers do. They connect words with feelings. Now let's move into another group of phrases you can use every single day. When you agree or show support, instead of just saying yes or okay, try using something that shows tone and personality. For example, "Absolutely, exactly, you're right about that," or "I couldn't agree more." Repeat after me slowly. "Absolutely, exactly, you're right about that. I couldn't agree more." These are the kind of expressions you hear in natural English conversations. Not formal, not stiff, just clear and confident. Let's try them in context. Imagine someone says, "I think learning through real conversations is better than just studying grammar." You can reply, "Absolutely. That's the best way to learn naturally." Or you could say, "Exactly. That's how you pick up the real rhythm of English." Repeat after me again with emotion. "Absolutely. Exactly. You're right about that." I couldn't agree more. Now, take a moment and think about your own day. How often do you agree with people, maybe with a coworker, a family member, or a friend? Try replacing your usual yes with one of these. It'll make you sound more fluent, more expressive, and more like a native speaker. Let's practice a few real-life examples together. You're at work and your colleague says, "We should finish this project by tomorrow." You can reply, "Absolutely, let's do it." Your friend says, "This restaurant makes the best coffee in town." You can respond, "Exactly, I love their cappuccino." Or someone says, "Speaking English every day really improves fluency." You can say, "You're right about that," or "I couldn't agree more." Each time you say it, notice the tone of your voice. Fluency isn't only about words, it's about sound, emotion, and timing. That's what gives life to your English. Let's do a short speaking exercise now. I'll give you a sentence, and you respond naturally using one of these agreement phrases. I'll say, "Learning English through practice is better than memorizing grammar." You say, "Absolutely," or "Exactly." I'll say, "Speaking slowly helps improve pronunciation." You say, "You're right about that." I'll say, "It's easier to remember words when you use them in sentences." You say, "I couldn't agree more." Good job. You're not only repeating words, you're training your brain to think in English patterns. Now let's move into another everyday area. Expressing emotion. When something surprises you, don't just say, "Oh," or "Really." Try these instead. "No way." "You're kidding." "That's unbelievable." Or "Are you serious?" For example, your friend says, "I met your favorite actor yesterday." You can say, "No way, you're kidding." These reactions add life to your speech and make you sound emotionally connected, not robotic. Let's repeat together. "No way, you're kidding. That's unbelievable." "Are you serious?" Try saying them with emotion. Feel the rise in your voice when you express surprise. The energy in your tone makes the English feel alive. Now imagine different situations. Your friend says, "I got a new job." You respond, "No way! Congratulations!" Or your colleague says, "We finished the project 2 days early." You say, "That's unbelievable." Or someone tells you, "I just ran 5 miles this morning." You respond, "Are you serious?" When you speak with emotion, your brain connects the feeling with the language, and that's how real fluency grows. Take a moment now. Close your eyes if you want, and imagine yourself talking to someone confidently in English. You use these phrases naturally. Your tone is calm, your rhythm's smooth, your words flowing easily. That's the power of practice. So whenever you learn a new phrase, don't just read it, say it out loud, use it in your daily life, and let your brain build the rhythm of English. Now let's move a little deeper into daily communication. Every conversation has moments when you need to show interest, to keep the dialogue flowing, or to make the other person feel heard. In advanced English, we do this not by long sentences, but by using short, friendly, responsive phrases. Imagine you're listening to someone talk about their weekend, and you want to show you're engaged. Instead of staying silent or saying only, "Yeah," try using natural listener phrases like, "Oh, really? That's nice. Sounds great. Good for you." Or "I see what you mean. Let's practice together slowly." "Oh, really? That's nice. Sounds great. Good for you. I see what you mean." Now, here's a small dialogue for practice. A friend says, "I finally started going to the gym again after 2 months." You respond, "Good for you. That's amazing." Then they add, "It's tough to stay." "Consistent, though." You reply, "Yeah, I see what you mean." Notice how this little rhythm keeps the conversation warm and alive. It shows that you're not only listening, but connecting emotionally. Now repeat with me, imagining the tone of a real conversation. "Good for you." Excited tone? "I see what you mean." Understanding tone. "Sounds great." friendly tone. You can even record yourself saying these lines. Listen back and check the tone. The more natural it sounds, the closer you are to advanced fluency. Let's continue. When you're having a casual chat in English, you'll also need small fillers, the words native speakers use to think while speaking. Phrases like, you know, I mean, well, actually, or let me think. These are essential for sounding smooth and natural. Let's practice them with meaning. If someone asks, why did you choose that restaurant? You can say, well, I just like the atmosphere there. If you're explaining something, say, you know, it's one of those places that feels cozy and calm. If you want to clarify, say, I mean, it's not fancy, but it's nice. And if you're thinking, use let me think. To buy time naturally, repeat after me now. Well, you know, I mean, actually, let me think. These are not empty words. They show confidence and control. Without them, your English might sound too direct or mechanical. With them, your sentences flow like a native speaker's rhythm. Let's create a short practice exercise. Imagine you're describing your favorite movie to a friend. You could say, well, it's a bit old, but really good, you know? The story just stays with you. I mean, it's emotional, but not too heavy. Now, repeat that out loud. Copying the tone, feel the pauses, the small breaks, the natural thinking sounds. That's how real people speak English every day. Now let's shift to another group of daily life phrases. Polite expressions you can use anywhere in advanced English. Being polite doesn't mean being overly formal. It means sounding soft, respectful, and kind. Instead of saying, give me that, you can say, could you pass me that, please? Instead of, I want water, say, could I get some water, please? Or instead of wait, say just a second, please. These softeners make your English sound natural and pleasant. Repeat with me now slowly. Could you pass me that, please? Could I get some water, please? Just a second, please. Even at work or in professional settings, these make a big difference. For example, would you mind sending me the file? If it's okay, could we talk later? Thanks a lot for your help. Now, let's turn them into a practice dialogue. You say, hi, could I get a glass of water, please? Waiter replies, of course. You say, thanks a lot. Or at work, would you mind checking this report for me? Colleague says, sure, I'll take a look. You say, thanks, I really appreciate it. Practice that again with emotion. Try to feel the kindness in your tone. Fluency isn't only grammar, it's the attitude behind your words. Now, let's explore phrases for showing understanding or continuing a conversation when you didn't quite hear something. In real life, people speak fast, and sometimes you miss a word. Instead of saying what, use softer forms like sorry. Could you say that again? Or I didn't quite catch that. Let's repeat together. Sorry. Could you say that again? I didn't quite catch that. These phrases make your listening and speaking interactions sound natural and polite. Here's a short conversation example. Someone says, so what time are we meeting tomorrow? You didn't hear clearly, so you say, sorry, could you say that again? They repeat, what time are we meeting tomorrow? You reply, oh right, around 10, I think. Simple, polite, and fluent. Now, let's practice one more important group. Phrases that help you end conversations smoothly. Ending a talk is also part of being fluent. It's not always easy to say goodbye naturally, but there are many soft ways to do it. Instead of just bye, try it was nice talking to you. Let's catch up soon. Talk to you later, or take care. Repeat with me slowly. It was nice talking to you. Let's catch up soon. Talk to you later. Take care. These phrases help you sound warm and natural at the end of any conversation. Let's try them in a short situation. You finish a meeting and say, all right, I think that's everything for today. It was nice talking to you. Take care. Or you're on a call with a friend. Okay, I've got to go now, but let's catch up soon. Practice those lines a few times until they sound smooth and natural. Now let's combine everything we've learned so far into a short, interactive exercise. Imagine you meet a friend at a cafe after a long time. I'll say the other person's lines, and you respond using the phrases we've learned today. Your friend says, "Hey, it's been so long." You respond, "Yeah, it's been ages. It's so nice to see you again." They say, "I just started a new job last month." You say, "Oh, really? That's great. Good for you." They say, "It's been stressful though." You say, "Yeah, I see what you mean." They say, "But the team is really supportive." You say, "That makes sense. It's always easier when people around you are kind." They say, "We should meet more often." You say, "Absolutely. Let's catch up soon." That's a perfect natural flow. Small, realistic, and emotionally connected phrases. These are the building blocks of fluent communication. Remember, the more you practice, the more these phrases become automatic. You don't need to translate or think. Your brain will start using them naturally because they are stored as chunks, not as individual words. Now, take a deep breath and say to yourself softly, "I can speak English naturally. I can use daily phrases confidently. I am improving every day." Confidence starts with the belief that you can express yourself even with simple phrases. The goal is not perfection, it's connection. In the next section, we'll continue expanding these ideas and learn how to use advanced linking phrases, expressions that help you connect ideas smoothly and sound more natural in every situation. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful tools in advanced English speaking, linking phrases. These are the small expressions that help your sentences flow together, making your speech sound natural and connected. Instead of broken or robotic, think about how native speakers connect their thoughts in conversation. They don't just stop after every idea. They say things like, "By the way," "as I was saying," "speaking of," "actually," "on the other hand," or "that reminds me." These are what make conversations feel alive and logical. So let's explore them together, one by one, with natural examples you can use in your daily life. Imagine you're talking about your weekend and suddenly remember something else you want to share. You can say, "Oh, by the way, I watched that movie you recommended." It's natural, smooth, and conversational. Repeat after me. By the way, oh, by the way. Use it when you want to add something extra or slightly change the topic. Now, if you're continuing an earlier idea after being interrupted, you can say, "As I was saying." It helps bring the conversation back to your main point. For example, "As I was saying, it's important to practice every day if you want to stay fluent." Repeat with me, "As I was saying." Here's another. Speaking of, use this when you want to link what the other person said to something related. For instance, if someone mentions travel, you can say, "Speaking of travel, I'm planning to visit Italy next month." Repeat again. "Speaking of." These connecting phrases help your thoughts flow like a river. Smooth, natural, continuous. Now let's use a few of them together in a mini conversation practice. You say, "I met Emma yesterday." Your friend replies, "Oh, really? How's she doing?" You say, "She's great. By the way, she started a new job in London." Your friend says, "Oh, wow, that's amazing." You respond, "Yeah, as I was saying earlier, she's been working really hard." Your friend says, "Speaking of hard work, you've been super busy too, right?" See how it flows? You don't even notice where one topic ends and another begins. That's what makes English sound fluent and natural. Now let's look at another group of connectors. Contrasting phrases like however, even though, on the other hand, and at the same time. These help you express more advanced thoughts, comparing, contrasting, or showing two sides of something. For example, "I like working from home, however, it can get a bit lonely sometimes." Or "I enjoy watching movies at home, but on the other hand, going to the cinema feels more exciting." Repeat slowly with me. However, On the other hand, even though, at the same time, now try to make your own sentences aloud. For instance, I love coffee. However, I try not to drink too much. Or I like big cities, but on the other hand, I also enjoy quiet villages. Practice expressing contrast in a calm tone, not too fast, not too formal, just natural conversation speed. Let's now focus on transition phrases for adding information. These are like bridges that let your ideas flow together. You can use in addition, besides, also, or what's more. Imagine you're describing your morning routine. I usually start my day with coffee. In addition, I listen to a short English podcast. I like reading in the morning. Besides, it helps me stay focused. I enjoy learning English every day. What's more, it makes me feel confident. Repeat with me. In addition, besides, what's more. Now let's practice a daily life example. You're telling a friend about how you've been improving your English. I've been watching more English videos lately. Besides, I try to speak with my colleagues in English. Your friend says that's a great idea. You say, yeah, and what's more, I record myself speaking to check my pronunciation. These little connectors make your English sound advanced, not because they're complicated, but because they're natural and logical. Now let's do a reflection exercise. Think about how you could describe your own day using linking phrases. For example, I woke up early today. After that, I made breakfast. Then I listened to an English lesson. Later on, I went for a walk. Now try saying it again but connecting it smoothly. I woke up early today, and after that, I made breakfast. Then I listened to an English lesson. Later on, I went for a walk. Now make it sound more advanced. I woke up early today. After making breakfast, I listened to an English lesson. Later on, I went for a walk to clear my mind. Can you feel how natural that rhythm becomes? That's the secret of advanced fluency, not bigger words, but smoother flow. Let's take this a little further. To sound more fluent, we also use phrases that show cause and effect, like so, that's why, as a result, because of that, and therefore. For example, I was tired, so I went to bed early. I didn't study yesterday, that's why I'm revising now. I practiced English every day, as a result, I became more confident. I listened to more English podcasts, therefore, my listening improved. Repeat these lines softly with me. Feel the flow between the cause and effect. Now imagine you're explaining your own progress in English. You could say, I started learning English consistently, and as a result, I feel more confident when I speak. Now try that again, but this time without reading. Make it your own sentence about your journey. Pause for a few seconds. Think about what you could say. Maybe, I used to be shy, but I practiced every day, and now I can talk with anyone in English. Yes, that's the kind of natural, emotional expression that brings your English to life. Let's now move to time connectors, which help organize your ideas and make your stories sound clear. Use at first, then after that, later, eventually, and finally. For example, at first I didn't understand much English. Then I started listening more. After that, I began speaking with confidence. Eventually, I could think in English. Finally, I reached fluency. Repeat that story with me slowly. Feel how the time connectors guide your listener through your journey. At first, pause, then pause. After that, pause, later, pause, eventually, pause. Finally, that's exactly how fluent speakers tell stories. One thought flowing into another. Now let's try a mini storytelling exercise together. I'll start, and you can fill in your own ideas as you repeat aloud. At first, I was nervous about speaking English. Then, I started practicing with short sentences. After that, I began using new phrases every day. Later, I noticed people understanding me better. Eventually, I stopped translating in my head. Finally, I felt confident and natural. Beautiful. That's your English story, your real-life progress, step by step. You see, fluency isn't about speed, it's about flow. And that flow comes from connecting your thoughts with small linking words that make your speech feel continuous and meaningful. Before we move on, let's take a short speaking challenge. I'll give you a few simple sentences, and you'll try to connect them naturally using what we've learned. Ready? Let's begin. I woke up late. I missed my bus. I was tired at work. Now say it again, fluently connected. I woke up late, so I missed my bus, and because of that, I was tired at work. Next one, I started reading more. My vocabulary improved. I feel more confident now. Try it. I started reading more, and as a result, my vocabulary improved. That's why. I feel more confident now. Excellent. Every time you practice like this, your English rhythm becomes smoother, and your confidence grows. So from now on, don't just memorize phrases, connect them. Think in full flowing sentences that tell a story, express emotion, and link your thoughts naturally. You are not just learning English, you're building the habit of speaking smoothly, confidently, and clearly, just like a fluent speaker. Now let's go even deeper into the kind of phrases that make your English sound confident, polite, and emotionally intelligent. These are expressions that help you respond naturally in conversations, not just with words, but with feeling and tone. Think about the last time you had to disagree politely with someone. Many learners feel nervous in those moments because they don't know how to disagree without sounding rude or uncomfortable. But in English, there are many soft, friendly ways to express a different opinion. Instead of saying, "No, that's wrong, try. I see what you mean, but," or "That's a good point, though I think," or "I understand your view, however." These simple connectors make your disagreement sound respectful and fluent. Let's repeat a few slowly together. I see what you mean, but that's a good point, though I think. I understand your view, however. Now imagine this situation. Your colleague says, "I think we should cancel the meeting." You could reply, "I see what you mean, but maybe we should wait until tomorrow to decide." Or if a friend says, "Watching TV helps me learn English," you could say, "That's a good point, though I think speaking practice helps even more." Try to say those sentences out loud. Feel the calm and polite tone behind them. That's advanced English. Confident, but kind. Here's a little speaking exercise for you. I'll give you a sentence, and you'll respond politely using one of these disagreement phrases. I'll say, "I think grammar is the only thing that matters in English." You say, "I see what you mean, but vocabulary and practice are just as important." I'll say, "You should only speak English when you're perfect." You say, "That's a good point, though I think learning happens through mistakes." Excellent. You're learning how to sound mature, respectful, and fluent, all at the same time. Now let's move to another area of daily communication, showing appreciation and gratitude. Fluency isn't only about accuracy, it's also about attitude. When you express gratitude naturally, you create warmth and connection in conversation. Of course, you already know thank you, but fluent speakers use many variations depending on the situation. For example, "Thanks a lot, I really appreciate it. That means a lot to me. You've been so helpful. That's so kind of you." Let's repeat together slowly. "Thanks a lot, I really appreciate it. That means a lot to me. You've been so helpful. That's so kind of you." Now imagine you're in real situations. A friend helps you move something heavy. You say, "Thanks a lot, that's so kind of you." A coworker helps you with a task. "I really appreciate your help today." Someone compliments you. You can say, "Thank you, that means a lot to me." Now let's switch to how we respond to thanks in natural ways. Instead of just saying welcome, try, "No problem, anytime." "My pleasure," or "Don't mention it." Repeat them softly with me. "No problem, anytime." My pleasure, don't mention it. These small responses sound warm and natural. For example, thanks for helping me out. No problem at all. I appreciate your time. My pleasure. Thanks for listening. Anytime! Practice those exchanges until they come out automatically. That's how you start thinking in English, by responding without translation. Now let's practice a little emotional connection through phrases that express encouragement and positivity. You can use these to motivate others, or even yourself. Repeat after me. You're doing great. Keep it up. Don't give up. You've got this. I'm proud of you. Believe in yourself. These may sound simple, but they're the heartbeat of daily spoken English. Warm, uplifting, and real. Let's practice in context. A friend says, I'm nervous about my English test. You respond, don't worry, you've got this. Your coworker says, I'm trying to improve my presentation skills. You say, keep it up. You're improving every day. Someone says, I made a mistake while speaking. You respond kindly. That's okay, everyone makes mistakes. You're doing great. Now, turn those phrases toward yourself for a moment. Whisper them to yourself. I'm doing great. I'm improving every day. I can speak English with confidence. That small self-talk is powerful. It trains your brain to believe in your growth, and that belief fuels fluency. Now let's go into everyday conversation phrases that help you show curiosity, phrases that help you ask questions in a friendly, advanced way, instead of just asking why or what. Use these soft, natural options. How come? What made you decide that? I was wondering, could you tell me a bit more about that? Or what's that like? Repeat after me. How come? What made you decide that? I was wondering, could you tell me a bit more about that? What's that like? Now, imagine you're talking to a friend who just moved to another city. You ask, how come you decided to move? Or what's life like there? Or your coworker says they've started learning Spanish. You say, that's interesting. What made you decide to learn Spanish? These phrases make your questions sound soft and caring. You're not interrogating, you're connecting. Now let's practice using them together in a realistic scene. You say, hey, I heard you started working out again. Friend replies, yeah, I joined a new gym last week. You say, oh, that's great. What made you decide to join? Friend says, I just wanted to feel healthier. You say, good for you. What's it like there? You see how every phrase keeps the conversation alive. It's smooth, natural, full of curiosity and warmth. Now let's explore another advanced habit fluent speakers have, using confirmation phrases to make sure both people understand each other. You can use phrases like, so you mean, let me get this straight. If I understand you correctly, or in other words, for example, someone says, I'll be late because my car broke down. You reply, so you mean you might not make it to the meeting on time? Or if a teacher explains something complicated, you can say, let me get this straight. You're saying, we only need to submit one report, right? Repeat after me slowly. So you mean, let me get this straight. If I understand you correctly, in other words, these are natural, intelligent ways to show that you're listening carefully. They also make your English sound more confident and professional. Let's practice them in a quick dialogue. Your colleague says, we're moving the meeting from Monday to Wednesday. You say, so you mean there's no meeting on Monday anymore? They respond, exactly. You say, got it, thanks for letting me know. Perfect. That's the rhythm of real English communication. Short, polite, and clear. Now, let's take a small speaking challenge. I'll describe a situation, and you respond using any phrase we've learned so far. You meet someone new at work. What can you say? Maybe, nice to meet you. How's your first week going? Someone gives you good news. How can you respond? Try. That's amazing. I'm so happy for you. Someone thanks you for help? How do you reply? Say, No problem, anytime. Someone shares a different opinion. What can you say? I see what you mean, but I have a slightly different view. Each response builds your English muscles. The more you use them, the stronger your fluency becomes. Now, let's finish this section with a small reflection exercise. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath and imagine yourself speaking English fluently. With confidence, you walk into a room, greet people naturally, respond politely, express yourself clearly, and leave the conversation with a smile. That image in your mind isn't just imagination, it's a preview of your future self. Every phrase you're learning today is taking you one step closer to that version of you. You're not just memorizing sentences, you're building habits, emotions, and rhythms that will stay with you for life. So keep repeating these daily phrases. Use them when you text, when you talk to friends, when you think to yourself. Every small practice moment adds up to massive improvement. You're doing amazing so far. Keep going. And remember, fluency is built one phrase at a time. Let's keep going. Because now we're going to explore one of the most powerful skills in English communication. Small talk. Small talk is not small in meaning. It's a huge part of sounding fluent, confident, and friendly in daily life. It's what helps you connect with people naturally, without pressure, in advanced English. Small talk isn't about deep conversations. It's about creating comfort. It's how you start communication in cafes, offices, elevators, meetings, or even while waiting for something. Let's begin with simple, realistic examples. When you meet someone, instead of just saying hello, try something warmer like, "Hi, how's your day going?" Or "Hey, how have you been?" Or "Good to see you again." These small differences immediately make your English feel friendly and approachable. Repeat after me softly. How's your day going? How have you been? Good to see you again. Now imagine you're at work, and you meet a colleague in the morning. You could say, "Morning! How's everything?" Or "Hey, hope your day's starting well." And if someone asks you, "How's your day going?" you can respond naturally with phrases like, "Pretty good so far," "Can't complain," "It's been busy, but good," or same old." Repeat after me again. Pretty good so far. Can't complain. It's been busy, but good. Same old. These are real everyday answers that you'll hear from native speakers all the time. They're short, relaxed, and full of rhythm. Let's practice a short small talk scene. You say, "Hey, how's your day going?" Your friend replies, "Pretty good so far." "How about you?" You say, "Can't complain. It's been a long morning though." You see how natural that flow is. It's simple, but that's exactly what fluency sounds like, not memorized, just natural and human. Now, small talk often includes talking about the weather, plans, or daily life, topics that are safe and familiar. For example, you can say, "It's such a nice day today, isn't it? Feels like it's going to rain. It's been really cold lately. This week's going by so fast." Now, repeat after me with natural rhythm. "Such a nice day today, isn't it? Feels like it's going to rain. It's been really cold lately. This week's going by so fast." Now, imagine adding your opinion or emotion after it. "It's such a nice day today, isn't it? Perfect for a walk." Or "Feels like it's going to rain." I love that cozy feeling. That's what brings warmth and personality to your English. Let's try another practice dialogue. You're waiting in line somewhere. The person next to you says, "The weather's been crazy lately." You can reply, "Yeah, tell me about it. It's so unpredictable these days." Or someone says, "Can't believe how hot it is." You can say, "I know, right? It feels like summer came early." Those small reactions, "Tell me about it." "I know, right?" Exactly, are essential in fluent English. They make your conversations feel alive, connected, and friendly. Now let's move into another part of small talk. Talking about plans and time. Here are some phrases you can use in daily life. What are you up to this weekend? Got any plans after work? How's your week looking? I'm thinking of relaxing tonight. I might go out with some friends. Repeat these softly with me. What are you up to this weekend? Got any plans after work? How's your week looking? I'm thinking of relaxing tonight. I might go out with some friends. These are perfect to start or continue small talk naturally. Now, let's do a mini exercise. Imagine you're talking to a friend on Friday afternoon. Hey, got any plans for the weekend? Friend, not really, I might just stay home and rest. Sounds good. You deserve a break. Simple, warm, natural. That's exactly what you should aim for in daily English. Now let's go one level deeper, learning how to show genuine interest in someone's life. This is what makes your English not just fluent, but meaningful. Phrases like, how's everything going with you? How's work these days? How's the family? What have you been up to lately? Or it's been a while. How have you been? Help you sound caring and connected. Repeat these softly. How's everything going with you? How's work these days? What have you been up to lately? It's been a while. How have you been? Now, let's practice a friendly conversation. Hey, it's been a while. How have you been? Friend, pretty good, just busy with work. Yeah, I know the feeling. Work's been nonstop for me too. And that's all it takes. Small talk with warmth and emotion. Remember, fluent English isn't only about perfect grammar. It's about human rhythm, knowing when to ask, when to listen, when to respond softly. Now, let's shift a bit and learn how to move from small talk to meaningful talk smoothly. When a conversation starts with light topics, and you want to go a bit deeper, you can use transition phrases like speaking of that. That reminds me. Actually, I've been thinking about, or funny you mentioned that. For example, someone says, I've been working a lot lately. You can say, yeah, speaking of work, have you ever thought about changing jobs? Or a friend says, I watched a movie last night. You say, oh, funny you mentioned that. I just watched a really good one too. These are gentle, natural bridges that move your conversation forward. Now let's practice a few mini dialogues. Friend, I'm thinking of going on vacation soon. That reminds me, I still need to renew my passport. Colleague, I've been drinking more coffee lately. Actually, I've been trying to cut back on it. Friend, I joined a cooking class. Oh really? Funny you mentioned that. I just tried cooking something new yesterday. Now, repeat these aloud at your own pace, feeling the rhythm of conversation as it flows. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on what's happening here. Every time you use a connecting phrase or reaction, you're doing something powerful. You're thinking in English. You're not translating from your native language. You're responding emotionally, directly, instantly. That's what fluency really is. It's not about speed. It's about connection and comfort. Now, let's go through a short self-practice segment. I'll give you some prompts, and you'll imagine yourself answering naturally. Prompt 1. Hey, how's your week been? Your response could be, pretty good, just a bit busy. Prompt 2. It's been raining all day. Your response could be, yeah, tell me about it. It hasn't stopped since morning. Prompt 3. Got any plans for tonight? You might say, not much. I think I'll just relax at home. Prompt 4. It's good to see you again. You respond, good to see you too. It's been ages. Each small exchange is a chance to practice fluency, to make your mind react naturally in English. And remember, small talk isn't small progress. Every time you start a chat, greet someone, or make a little comment, you're building your confidence. You're training your brain to use English without overthinking. So, from now on, try to notice opportunities to start small conversations. At the store, in class, at work, online. Use one of today's phrases naturally. Even once a day, that's all it takes to move from learning English to living English. Now that you've learned how to use small talk naturally, let's explore how to keep a conversation going once it starts. Many English learners can start a conversation, but they often struggle to continue it. They run out of things to say or worry about sounding boring. The secret is to build on what the other person says, to keep the rhythm alive with curiosity, reactions, and shared experiences. Let's imagine this together. Someone says, "I went hiking last weekend." Instead of just saying, "Oh, nice," you can respond in a way that keeps the talk alive. "That sounds amazing. Where did you go?" Or "Really? I've always wanted to try hiking. How was it?" See how these questions invite the person to share more. That's how you create natural flow in English. Repeat after me. "That sounds amazing." "Where did you go? How was it?" "I've always wanted to try that." Now, let's practice more examples. Someone says, "I watched a new series on Netflix." You can reply, "Oh, really? What's it about?" Or "Nice. Was it good?" Someone says, "I just started learning guitar." You can respond, "That's so cool. How long have you been playing?" Someone says, "I tried cooking a new recipe." You could say, "That's great. What did you make?" Notice how you're not just reacting, you're inviting. That's what fluent speakers do. They keep conversations open by asking simple, emotional questions that make others feel heard and comfortable. Let's do a speaking challenge together. I'll say a sentence, and you imagine your natural follow-up question. I say, "I'm planning a trip next month." You might respond, "Oh, nice. Where are you going?" I say, "I've been feeling a bit tired lately." You could respond, "Oh no. Have you been getting enough rest?" I say, "I've been learning English for 3 years now." You might say, "That's great. What's helped you the most?" Perfect. You're learning how to sound engaged and natural, not just polite, but emotionally connected. Now, sometimes in a conversation, you'll need to show surprise, empathy, or emotion to make your words sound alive. Native speakers do this with short, expressive phrases like, "Oh, wow, that's incredible. Really? That must be tough. Good for you." Or, "That's so funny." Let's repeat a few together. "Oh, wow, that's incredible. Really? That must be tough. Good for you. That's so funny." Now let's use them in short examples. A friend says, "I finally got a promotion." You respond, "Oh wow, congratulations, that's amazing." Someone says, "I woke up at 5 a.m. to go running." You reply, "Really? That's so early. Good for you." Another friend says, "I lost my phone yesterday." You respond, "Oh no, that must be tough." These small emotional reactions keep your speech full of energy and warmth. Now, let's talk about how to share your own experiences naturally. Something that's key to fluency. You don't need long stories. You just need structure and rhythm. Try using this simple flow, context plus detail plus feeling. For example, last night I tried a new restaurant near my house. The food was amazing, and the atmosphere was so cozy. I think I'll go again next week. Or, I started reading a new English book. It's a bit difficult, but I'm enjoying it. Or, I went jogging this morning. The weather was so fresh. It felt great. Now, try creating your own example out loud. Think about something small you did today. Maybe drinking your morning coffee, watching a video, or finishing some work, and describe it using that pattern. What you did, a little detail, and how you felt. Pause for a few seconds and practice that now. Excellent. That's how fluent English feels. Calm, clear, and full of life. Now, let's look at another type of phrase, clarifying and confirming phrases that help keep conversations smooth when you need to make sure you understood something. Instead of repeating the same words, you can say, "So you mean," just to be clear. "If I got that right, are you saying that?" or let me make sure I understand. Let's practice them one by one. So you mean, just to be clear, if I got that right, are you saying that, let me make sure I understand? Now imagine you're in a conversation. Someone says, we'll move the meeting to Friday instead of Thursday. You can respond, just to be clear, that's this Friday, right? Or someone says, I'll bring the document later. You can say, so you mean after lunch? These tiny details make your communication sound professional and careful. You're confirming politely instead of sounding confused. Let's also look at how fluent speakers give their opinions smoothly. They don't just say, I think, over and over. They vary it with natural alternatives like, in my opinion, from my point of view, if you ask me, to be honest, and personally, I feel that. Repeat softly with me. In my opinion, from my point of view, if you ask me, to be honest, personally, I feel that. Now, practice them in real sentences. In my opinion, listening practice is more important than grammar drills. From my point of view, confidence comes from daily repetition. If you ask me, learning through real examples is the best way. To be honest, I sometimes get nervous speaking too. Personally, I feel that watching English shows helps a lot. Now say one about your own life using one of those phrases. For example, to be honest, I learn best when I speak aloud. Or personally, I feel that writing every day helps me remember new words. That's real fluency, expressing your own thoughts comfortably in English. Now let's practice moving between agreement and disagreement naturally. When someone says something you partly agree with, you can use, that's true, but I agree to some extent. You have a point though, or I'm not sure I completely agree. Repeat slowly with me. That's true, but I agree to some extent. You have a point though. I'm not sure I completely agree. Let's use these in mini examples. Friend, watching movies is enough to learn English. That's true, but I think speaking practice is also important. Colleague, grammar isn't important at all. I agree to some extent, though it still helps to understand the basics. Friend, everyone should learn a second language. You have a point, though not everyone gets the same opportunity. See how gentle and balanced those sound? That's what makes your English feel advanced and natural. Now let's practice using phrases for giving suggestions and advice. Instead of saying you should, you can soften it with, maybe you could. Have you tried? It might be a good idea to. Or you might want to. For example, maybe you could watch short videos every day to improve your listening. Have you tried keeping a small notebook for new words? It might be a good idea to practice shadowing out loud. You might want to listen to slow English audio before sleeping. Repeat these softly. Maybe you could. Have you tried? It might be a good idea to. You might want to. These gentle phrases sound polite, supportive, and encouraging, exactly how a fluent speaker would express advice. Let's do a short reflection exercise now. Think of one English learner you know, maybe a friend or even yourself, and give a piece of advice using one of today's phrases. Maybe, have you tried speaking with yourself in the mirror? Or you might want to listen to English music to pick up rhythm? Or it might be a good idea to record your own voice to track progress. See how natural it sounds? You're not commanding, you're guiding. That's the beauty of fluent English. It's both kind and confident. Now take a deep breath. You've already learned how to agree, disagree, show curiosity, express emotion, and give advice. These are the real tools of everyday communication. And here's something very important. When you use all of these phrases together, you stop studying English and start living it. Your goal is not to remember every single word, but to build the habit of responding in English naturally. So the next time someone talks to you, listen carefully. Don't translate in your head. Just respond with something small and natural like, "Yeah, I get what you mean," or "That's interesting," or "I totally understand." Every time you do that, you are practicing real fluency. Now that you've learned how to express ideas and feelings clearly, let's explore something equally powerful: how to sound natural in everyday English through rhythm, pauses, and filler expressions that make your speech feel alive and confident. You see, native speakers don't always speak perfectly or in complete sentences. They use pauses, small words, and sounds like, well, actually. And so, to give their brain time to think, these aren't mistakes. They're part of the natural music of English conversation. For example, if someone asks, "What do you think about learning English online?" You might say, "Well, I think it's great because you can learn anywhere." Or if someone says, "Do you like watching movies in English?" You could respond, "Yeah, actually, I do. It really helps with pronunciation." Let's repeat those softly. "Well, actually, So, these are gentle connectors that make your English sound smooth and effortless. Let's do a small practice exercise. I'll give you a few questions, and you'll answer naturally using one of these fillers at the start. Question 1. Do you study English every day? You can answer, "Well, I try to. Some days are harder than others." Question 2. Do you like learning through videos? You could say, "Yeah, actually, I do. It keeps things interesting." Question 3. Do you think English grammar is important? Try, "I think grammar matters, but practice matters more." That's the sound of real conversation. Relaxed, thoughtful, and genuine. Now let's talk about another important feature of fluent English: intonation. That's how your voice rises and falls naturally when you speak. Intonation shows emotion and makes your words sound alive. For example, when you ask a question like, "Really?" your voice goes up slightly at the end. When you show understanding with "I see," your tone drops slightly to show calmness. When you say, "That's amazing," your tone rises with excitement. Practicing these tones helps you sound expressive and confident. So let's do a few together. Say softly, "Really?" with rising tone, "I see." With falling tone, "That's amazing." With rising tone, "Oh, that's too bad." With soft, low tone. When you train your ear for tone and rhythm, you'll notice how English carries emotion through sound, not just words. Now, let's look at some advanced conversation habits. How to change topics smoothly and how to end conversations politely. Sometimes you need to move from one topic to another without sounding abrupt. You can use phrases like "Anyway," "By the way," "Speaking of which," or "That reminds me." For example, "Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about," or "Speaking of travel, I've always wanted to visit Japan." Repeat after me softly. "Anyway, by the way, speaking of which, that reminds me." Now, when you want to end a conversation, don't just say bye. Instead, use friendly closing phrases like "It was great talking to you," "Let's talk again soon," "I'll catch you later," "Take care," or "Have a good one." Practice them now with emotion. "It was great talking to you. Let's talk again soon. I'll catch you later. Take care." These soft endings help your English sound polite, natural, and mature. Let's see how they sound in a full conversation. You, "Anyway, I should probably get going soon." Friend, "Yeah, me too. It was great talking to you." You, "Same here. Let's catch up again sometime." Beautiful, calm, fluent. That's exactly how English conversations flow in real life. Now let's add one more layer: reactive phrases that show you're emotionally present in the conversation. Phrases like, I know what you mean. Exactly. Totally. That's so true, right? And tell me about it. Show empathy and shared understanding. Repeat them with me. I know what you mean. Exactly. Totally. That's so true, right? Tell me about it. Now, let's see how they appear in real-life talk. Your friend says learning English can be exhausting sometimes. You say, tell me about it. Someone says, it's hard to find time to practice. You reply, I know what you mean. A coworker says, speaking every day really helps. You say, exactly. Practice makes progress. Notice how these phrases make you sound connected and real, like someone who's emotionally part of the moment. Let's move into something deeper. Expressing feelings and emotions. When you talk about how you feel, you become more relatable and human in English. Instead of saying, I'm happy, you can say, I'm really glad about that, or that made my day. Instead of I'm sad, say I feel down today, or it's been a rough day. For excitement, use I'm thrilled. I'm so excited. This is amazing. For disappointment, use I'm a bit upset. That's disappointing. Or, I was hoping for better. Let's practice these with feeling. Try saying them out loud. I'm really glad about that. That made my day. It's been a rough day. I'm thrilled. That's disappointing. I was hoping for better. When you say these lines with emotion, you train your voice to match your meaning. That's emotional fluency. Now, let's combine emotion with connection. Imagine this short scene. You tell a friend, I finally finished my big project. Friend says, that's amazing. You must feel so relieved. You say, yeah, I'm thrilled. It was a lot of work, but totally worth it. That's real communication, full of warmth, tone, and humanity. Now, let's move to expressing opinions and preferences naturally. Instead of saying only I like or I don't like, you can vary your expressions. Try these I'm really into, I'm not a big fan of, I prefer, I'm crazy about, I can't stand, I'd rather. Repeat with me, I'm really into, I'm not a big fan of, I prefer, I'm crazy about, I can't stand, I'd rather. Now, some examples. I'm really into learning new languages lately. I'm not a big fan of spicy food. I prefer morning walks to evening ones. I'm crazy about photography. I can't stand waiting in long lines. I'd rather stay home tonight. Now, make your own small sentence out loud using one of these patterns. Try one about food, music, movies, or hobbies. Each time you say it, your fluency strengthens because you're connecting English with your real feelings. Now, let's talk about responding to compliments politely, another important daily skill. If someone says, your English is really good, you can reply, thank you, that means a lot, or I appreciate that, or even I'm still learning. But thank you. If someone says, I like your accent, you can say, that's kind of you to say. Let's repeat a few softly, thank you. That means a lot, I appreciate that. That's kind of you to say. I'm still learning, but thank you. When you respond this way, you show both humility and confidence, a perfect mix for sounding fluent and friendly. Now, let's bring together everything you've learned so far into a reflection exercise. Take a moment and think about your day. How many of today's phrases can you use naturally in your next conversation? Maybe start with, how's your day going? Or, that sounds great. Or actually, I've been practicing English a lot lately. The more you speak like this, the more automatic it becomes. Remember, fluency isn't just about vocabulary, it's about connection, tone, emotion, and rhythm. You are already developing all of these by practicing these everyday phrases with me. So, keep repeating them aloud, keep feeling them, and keep imagining yourself using them in real life. That's how fluency takes root in your mind. You're doing wonderfully so far. Let's keep building this natural flow step by step, because by the end of this session, you'll not only know these phrases, You'll own them. Let's continue our fluency journey together, because now I want you to start feeling how English becomes part of your thinking, not just something you study, but something you live every day. When you speak English naturally, you don't think about grammar rules or translation. You focus on the message, on the rhythm, on the feeling of connection with another person. That's what these everyday phrases help you build. Confidence and flow in real conversation. Let's explore some more useful expressions that make your communication sound clear and advanced. The kind that native speakers use without realizing how powerful they are. Let's start with time phrases. Little expressions that describe when something happens, because they help structure your storytelling naturally. Instead of saying only yesterday or tomorrow, you can use phrases like the other day, a while ago, in a bit, later on, before long, or back then. For example, I met her the other day at the cafe. I'll call you in a bit. Before long, you'll be fluent. Back then, I didn't know a single English phrase. Repeat these softly with me. The other day, a while ago, in a bit, later on, before long, back then. These time phrases add life and variety to your speech. They make your English sound natural, not robotic. Now, let's talk about conditional phrases. Expressions that describe possible situations or hopes. You already know if. But fluent speakers use many soft variations like as long as, in case, even if, provided that, or unless. Let's see how they sound in real use. You'll improve fast as long as you practice daily. Take an umbrella in case it rains. Even if it's difficult, keep going. You can join, provided that you finish your homework first. I won't stop learning unless I reach fluency. Now repeat those slowly after me. As long as, in case, even, if, provided that, unless. Each of these connectors gives your speech depth. They show cause, condition, and reasoning, which are signs of advanced fluency. Now let's focus on something practical. Phrases for expressing uncertainty or possibility. Because in real life, we don't always know the answer, right? Instead of saying, I don't know, try one of these softer options, I'm not sure. Maybe, it could be, I guess so. It depends. I'll have to check. Repeat them with me gently. I'm not sure. Maybe. It could be. I guess so. It depends. I'll have to check. Now let's put these in a short example. Friend, are you free tomorrow? You, I'm not sure. I might have some work. Coworker, do you think it'll rain today? You, maybe. It depends on the forecast. These soft answers make your English sound polite and realistic. Just like everyday speech. Now, let's practice something every fluent speaker does all the time. Reacting to new information. When someone tells you something surprising or unexpected, you can respond naturally with phrases like, oh, I didn't know that. Is that so? That's interesting. Really? Or good to know. Repeat after me softly. Oh, I didn't know that. Is that so? That's interesting. Really? Good to know. These reactions show engagement. They keep your tone friendly and alive. Here's a small exercise for you. I'll say something and you respond with one of these phrases. I say, did you know English has more than 1 million words? You say, oh, I didn't know that. I say, coffee was discovered over 1,000 years ago. You say, that's interesting. I say, the word okay is understood almost everywhere in the world. You say, really? Good to know, see? Simple reactions make conversations flow beautifully. Now let's talk about phrases that help you manage conversations professionally. These are great for meetings, group discussions, or polite conversations. For example, when you want to share your opinion, say if I may add something, or from my experience. When you want to politely interrupt, say sorry to interrupt, but, or can I just say something here? When you want to agree diplomatically, say I think you're absolutely right, or that's a very good point. Repeat them with me softly. If I may add something, from my experience, sorry to interrupt, but can I just say something here? That's a very good point. These phrases are especially useful if you use English for work or study. They make your tone respectful and confident at the same time. Let's practice a short professional scene. You're in a meeting and someone says, "We should focus more on online marketing." You respond, "That's a very good point. If I may add something, we could also improve our website." Or someone says, "We don't have enough feedback yet." You can say, "I totally agree. And from my experience, collecting feedback early really helps." See how polite and fluent that sounds? That's the balance between clarity and respect that makes advanced English communication shine. Now let's relax a little and learn phrasal expressions for daily life. Those combinations of verbs and prepositions that make you sound like a native speaker. Let's practice a few useful ones. Wake up, to get out of bed. I wake up at 7 every day. Get along with, to have a good relationship. I get along with my colleagues really well. Run out of, to have no more of something. We ran out of coffee. Look after, to take care of someone. I look after my little sister. Turn down, to reject or lower something. I turn down the volume. Figure out, to solve or understand something. I finally figured out the answer. Repeat each one softly. Wake up, get along with, run out of, look after, turn down, figure out. Now let's use them in short, everyday scenes. You, I ran out of milk this morning. Friend, oh no, me too. I'll get some later. You, I finally figured out how to use that app. Friend, nice. Took me forever to learn that. You, I get along with my coworkers really well. Friend, that's great. It makes work so much easier. By practicing phrasal verbs like this in context, you train your brain to recognize them automatically. Now, let's shift to phrases for showing understanding or empathy. The ones that make you sound emotionally intelligent in English. You can use "that must be hard." I can imagine. I know how you feel. That sounds tough. Don't worry about it, or everything will be fine. Repeat gently with me. That must be hard. I can imagine. I know how you feel. That sounds tough. Don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. Now imagine this short scene. Friend, I didn't do well in my exam. You, oh, I know how you feel. That must be hard. But you'll do better next time. Someone says, I've been really busy lately. You, I can imagine. Make sure to rest when you can. These phrases help you sound kind and thoughtful, which is just as important as being fluent. Let's do a reflection exercise before we move forward. Take a moment and think of 3 phrases from today that you like the most. Maybe I'll call you in a bit, or don't worry about it, or I figured it out. Now, imagine how you can use them in your next real-life conversation. Remember, the key is repetition. The more you say them, the faster they become part of your natural English brain. You're doing really well so far. Every section we go through adds another layer to your fluency. Soon, you'll notice that when you speak, words come out smoothly, automatically, and confidently. Because your brain has already practiced these rhythms again and again. So keep going. You are halfway through your journey toward real spoken English fluency, and it's only going to get better from here. Now, let's take your fluency practice 1 step further. Up to now, we've focused on daily phrases, reactions, and connectors that make your English sound natural. But real communication is not only about words, it's about rhythm, emotion, and confidence in how you deliver your message. So in this section, we'll focus on how to express yourself fully in any situation. Whether you retelling a story, giving an opinion, or sharing a personal experience. When you tell a story in English, structure matters. Most fluent speakers naturally follow a pattern. They set the scene, add details, and share feelings. Let's try that together. Imagine you're describing your weekend. You can begin like this. It all started on Saturday morning, or last weekend was really special because, or so something funny happened yesterday. These small openings instantly catch attention and make your story flow smoothly. Repeat softly with me. It all started on Saturday morning. Last weekend was really special because something funny happened yesterday. Now, let's build that story together. It all started on Saturday morning when I decided to go for a walk. The weather was beautiful, so I grabbed a cup of coffee and walked to the park. I met an old friend there by surprise, and we ended up talking for hours. It felt so good to reconnect. See how simple but complete that story feels? It's not about complex vocabulary. It's about sequence, feeling, and connection. Now try to think of a small story from your own life. It could be about meeting someone, learning something, or even having a funny experience. Start it with one of our openings. It all started when, or you won't believe what happened. And then add the details naturally. Take a short pause and imagine yourself saying it out loud. You're doing great. Now let's focus on transition phrases that keep your story smooth and connected. Use expressions like after that, a few minutes later, suddenly, meanwhile, in the end, and to my surprise. For example, after that, we decided to grab lunch. A few minutes later, it started raining. Meanwhile, my phone battery died. In the end, it turned into one of my favorite days. To my surprise, everything worked out perfectly. These words help your listener follow your story naturally. They're like signposts on a road that guide your direction. Now repeat them softly after me. After that, a few minutes later, meanwhile, in the end, to my surprise. Excellent. Now let's explore something that many advanced learners forget. How to describe feelings and experiences vividly. When you describe emotion, don't just say I was happy or I was sad. Try to show it through more expressive language. For example, instead of I was happy, say I was over the moon. Or I couldn't stop smiling. Instead of I was sad, say I felt down. Or my heart sank. Instead of I was nervous, say my hands were shaking. Or I had butterflies in my stomach. Instead of I was surprised, say I was taken aback. Or it completely caught me off guard. These phrases help you express emotion in a real human way, just like native speakers do. Let's repeat a few softly together. I was over the moon. My heart sank. I had butterflies in my stomach. It caught me off guard. Now, let's create a small, emotional storytelling practice. When I got my first English compliment, I was over the moon. It felt like all my hard work had finally paid off. I couldn't stop smiling the whole day. Now try to imagine your own short story using one of those emotional phrases. It could be about your English journey, a goal you achieved, or even something small that made you proud. Every time you add emotion to your speech, your English becomes more memorable, more alive. Now let's move into phrases for reflection and realization, the ones that help you sound thoughtful and mature. You can say things like looking back. I've realized that. It taught me that. It made me understand. Since then. Or that moment changed me. For example, looking back, I've realized that consistency is everything. That experience taught me that mistakes are part of learning. Since then, I've been more confident when I speak. Repeat them gently with me. Looking back, I've realized that. It taught me that. Since then, that moment changed me. These reflective phrases show maturity and growth. They let your listener see your journey, not just your words. Now let's connect that idea to your own English learning story. You can say something like, looking back, I've realized that speaking every day, even for 5 minutes, makes a huge difference. It taught me that practice doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be consistent. That's beautiful, isn't it? It's not just fluent English, it's fluent thinking in English. Now let's move into phrases for motivation and encouragement, the ones you can use with yourself or others when you feel tired or unmotivated. Repeat softly with me. One step at a time, every day counts. Progress, not perfection. You've come a long way. Keep going, you're getting there. Believe in your journey. These phrases not only help you stay motivated, they sound natural and deeply human. Let's practice them in small daily examples. I feel like my progress is slow. Friend, don't worry, one step at a time. Every day counts. I made so many mistakes today. Friend, that's okay. Progress, not perfection. I'm still not fluent yet. Friend, but you've come a long way. Keep going, you're getting there. Each of these phrases can become part of your self-talk, a soft reminder that growth in English, like in life, is built slowly, kindly, and steadily. Now let's imagine you're the one encouraging someone else, a friend or a fellow learner. You can say things like, "You're improving faster than you think. I can already see the difference. Don't stop now. You're closer than you realize. It's okay to take breaks, but never give up." These words not only help others, but they also strengthen your own mindset. Now let's talk about phrases for confidence and self-assurance. When you want to sound confident without sounding arrogant, use expressions like, "I'm pretty sure," "I'm confident that," "I believe," "from what I know," or "I feel certain that." For example, "I'm pretty sure this is the right way. I believe we can do it." "I'm confident that practice will pay off." Repeat after me. "I'm pretty sure, I'm confident that, I believe, from what I know, I feel certain that." These small phrases build strength in your tone. They show clarity and calmness. Now, let's combine confidence and kindness together in one short example. You say, "From what I know, everyone learns differently, and that's okay." Or, "I believe you'll get better if you keep practicing." That's exactly how fluent English sounds. Thoughtful, balanced, and authentic. Now let's do one of my favorite fluency practices, shadowing reflection. I'll say a few sentences slowly, and you can repeat them after me, copying the tone and rhythm as naturally as you can. "I've come a long way. I'm proud of how much I've improved. Every mistake helps me grow. I can communicate my thoughts clearly. Fluency is not about perfection. It's about connection." Beautiful. Take a deep breath and repeat those again softly to yourself. Feel how your confidence rises with every phrase. This is what fluency really means, being able to speak from the heart, with calm, with truth, and with rhythm. And remember, you're not learning just words. You're learning how to express life through English. You are doing so well, and there's still more to discover. Let's keep going, because the more you speak, the more natural you become, and the more English starts to feel like your language. Now that you're learning to express yourself confidently, let's explore how to sound smooth and natural when you connect ideas in longer conversations. Because fluency isn't only about what you say, it's about how easily your words flow from one thought to the next. One of the best ways to build this flow is by using linking expressions for explanation and reason. These help you explain why or how something happens in a natural way. Let's practice some of them together. That's because the reason is, you see, basically, in other words, to put it simply, repeat them softly after me. That's because the reason is, you see, basically. In other words, to put it simply. Now, here's how you can use them in real sentences. I enjoy learning English. That's because it connects me with people from around the world. You see, the key to fluency is daily consistency. Basically, Practice turns knowledge into confidence. In other words, the more you use English, the more natural it feels. These linking expressions let your thoughts move naturally. They're the glue that holds your ideas together. Let's keep going with phrases that organize your ideas when you're speaking for longer. You can say first of all, secondly, finally, or for casual speech, to start with. Then again, on top of that, last but not least. For example, first of all, you need motivation. Secondly, you need a daily routine. And finally, you need patience. Or in a friendly tone. To start with, I love English movies. On top of that, I enjoy learning new expressions from them. Repeat these softly now. First of all, secondly, finally, on top of that, last but not least. These are especially helpful if you're giving a presentation or explaining something. They make your English sound organized and professional. Now let's practice a small activity together. Imagine you're giving simple advice on learning English. Say, first of all, listen more than you speak. Secondly, repeat what you hear. And finally, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Excellent. That's fluent, clear, and confident English. Now let's learn phrases for expressing preference and comparison. Because fluent speakers often describe what they like or choose in subtle ways. Instead of only saying, I like A more than B, you can use, I'd rather, I prefer, I tend to, I usually go for, I'm more into, or I don't really go for. For example, I'd rather stay in than go out on weekends. I tend to wake up early. It helps me focus. I'm more into quiet cafes than crowded ones. I don't really go for spicy food. Repeat them softly with me. I'd rather, I prefer, I tend to, I usually go for, I'm more into, I don't really go for. You can use these to sound natural when you're describing habits, tastes, or lifestyle choices. Now, let's talk about phrases that show possibility and likelihood. They help you sound realistic and balanced when you speak. You can use it might, it could, there's a chance, it's likely that, or I wouldn't be surprised if. For example, it might rain later, so take an umbrella. It could be a good idea to practice in the morning. There's a chance we'll meet again soon. It's likely that you'll improve quickly if you stay consistent. I wouldn't be surprised if you become fluent this year. Repeat them softly with me now. It might. It could. There's a chance. It's likely that. I wouldn't be surprised if. These phrases make your tone sound thoughtful. Not too strong. Not too weak. Just natural. Now let's practice conversation repair phrases. Useful when you don't understand something, or when you need time to think. Try, sorry, what was that again? Could you repeat that? Let me think for a moment. What I mean is, how should I put it? I'm trying to say that. Repeat gently with me. Sorry, what was that again? Let me think for a moment. What I mean is, how should I put it? These expressions buy you time and keep conversations smooth. Even when you hesitate, that's exactly what fluent speakers do too. Now let's add phrases for balancing opinions. Those little bridges that show understanding while you express your view. For example, I see your point, but that's true, although you're right to some extent. At the same time, on the one hand, on the other hand, let's repeat them softly together. I see your point, but that's true, although you're right to some extent. At the same time, on the one hand, on the other hand. Now, imagine this scene. Someone says, learning English grammar is boring. You respond, you're right to some extent, but it's useful for building a foundation. Someone says, I don't think pronunciation matters much. You say, I see your point, but pronunciation helps others understand you clearly. These soft connectors help you sound balanced and intelligent, calm disagreement instead of conflict. Now, let's look at phrases for making suggestions politely, especially in group settings. Use, why don't we? What if we? Maybe we could. How about? Or it might be better to. For example, why don't we try practicing together this weekend? What if we focused on speaking today? Maybe we could take turns reading aloud. How about watching a short English video? It might be better to start with the basics first. Repeat them softly with me. Why don't we? What if we? Maybe we could. How about? It might be better to. These phrases are polite, friendly, and cooperative, perfect for daily and professional situations alike. Now let's go into phrases for expressing certainty and doubt. Both are important for balanced speaking. When you're sure, you can say, definitely, for sure, absolutely, no doubt about it. I'm positive. When you're unsure, you can say, I'm not completely sure. It's hard to say. I might be wrong, but I'm not certain. Repeat with me softly, definitely, for sure, absolutely, no doubt about it. I'm positive. Now the softer ones. I'm not completely sure. It's hard to say. I might be wrong, but I'm not certain. These subtle shifts in tone show maturity. They make your English sound flexible, not black and white. Now, let's talk about phrases that show enthusiasm or encouragement. Because positive energy makes your English feel alive. Use, that's awesome. That's brilliant. Good job. Keep it up. You nailed it. I'm so proud of you. Repeat them cheerfully with me. That's awesome. That's brilliant. Good job. Keep it up. You nailed it. I'm so proud of you. Use them not just with others. Say them to yourself too. Every time you finish a practice session, tell yourself good job. Or I nailed that today. That small positive self-talk will keep your motivation strong and your brain confident. Now let's imagine a full conversation where all these skills come together. You're chatting with a friend about learning English. To put it simply, consistency matters more than perfection. Friend, yeah, I guess so. Basically, you just need to make it part of your day. Friend, true, but sometimes I don't have time. I see your point, although even 5 minutes helps. Friend, maybe we could practice together online. That's awesome. Let's do that. See how natural that sounds? That's not textbook English. That's real-life communication, flowing with comfort and confidence. Before we move further, take a slow breath and reflect for a moment. You've now learned hundreds of daily English phrases, not just for understanding, but for using. From greetings and reactions, to storytelling, motivation, and polite communication, you're building the habits that define fluency. Remember, English fluency isn't a destination. It's a process of continuous connection. Every phrase you use, every word you repeat aloud, brings you closer to thinking directly in English. You're doing wonderfully, and you've already come so far. Let's keep moving forward to complete your masterclass with more real-life examples and closing reflections. At this point, you've learned so many powerful phrases, expressions, and natural sentence patterns that it's time to focus on the mindset that turns them into fluency. Because real fluency doesn't come from memorizing. It comes from living these words every day, using them in small moments until they become part of who you are. Let's start by talking about one of the biggest fluency blocks, fear of making mistakes. Almost every English learner feels it, that little hesitation before speaking, the worry of sounding wrong, the fear of being judged. But let me remind you of something important. Even native speakers make mistakes all the time. They forget words, repeat themselves, say things like or and yet they keep going, they keep communicating. because communication is the real goal, not perfection. So the next time you're about to speak English and that fear appears, pause and remind yourself, I don't need to be perfect. I just need to connect. Repeat that softly with me now. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to connect. That sentence alone can free you from hesitation. Now, let's imagine a real-life moment. You're talking to someone, and suddenly you forget a word. Instead of freezing, just use one of these natural filler phrases to keep going. You can say, what's the word? Let me think. How do I say this? Or it's kind of like, for example, I went to, what's the word? A bakery. Or it's kind of like a park. But smaller, these phrases keep the conversation alive and show confidence even when you pause. Let's repeat them softly together. What's the word? Let me think. How do I say this? It's kind of like, that's fluency, not speed, but smoothness. Now, let's talk about another important point. Thinking in English, many learners try to translate from their first language, but that slows everything down. Instead, start building thoughts directly in English, even for small things. When you wake up, say to yourself in English, I'm getting up now. When you eat, think, this tastes good. When you walk outside, say, it's such a nice day. These simple sentences turn English into your inner language, one you no longer have to search for. Repeat after me softly. I think in English every day. I describe my life in English. I can express myself naturally. Now let's move to another powerful fluency skill, self-correction without panic. When you make a mistake, don't stop completely, just fix it smoothly and continue. For example, she goes to work early, or he lives near me. See how natural that sounds? Fluent speakers do that constantly. They self-correct softly, with calm rhythm, and move forward. Practice this now. Say something, make a small mistake, then correct yourself politely. I was watching TV. She plays the piano. That's how you turn fear into fluency. Now let's talk about how to build English habits in your everyday routine. Try setting small, specific actions like listening to one English video a day, writing a short diary in English every night, speaking to yourself in English for 2 minutes before bed, or describing what you're doing as you go through your day. Each of these activities trains your brain to treat English as normal, not foreign. Repeat softly. English is part of my daily life. I practice naturally every day. I enjoy the process. Now let's focus on how to keep your motivation alive, because fluency is not only about skill, but also about energy and mindset. Whenever you feel tired or discouraged, remind yourself why you started learning English in the first place. Maybe it's to travel freely, connect with people globally, get a better job, or express yourself confidently. Whatever your reason, hold it close. It will carry you through the hard days. Say this softly to yourself. I'm learning English for me. I'm improving step by step. I'm proud of my progress. You see, motivation doesn't come from outside. It grows from your own belief in yourself. Now, let's talk about how to make English learning fun and creative, because when you enjoy something, you learn faster and remember more. Instead of studying from textbooks alone, listen to English songs and try to sing along. Watch your favorite shows with subtitles and repeat small lines. Read short articles about topics you love, maybe food, travel, science, or stories. And most importantly, make English part of your hobbies. If you love cooking, watch English recipe videos. If you love sports, read English sports news. If you love movies, join English discussions online. This turns English into a lifestyle, not a subject. Repeat softly. I live in English. I learn through what I love. English is part of my world. Now, let's talk about one of the most beautiful ways to grow. Talking to yourself in English. Many people underestimate this technique, but it's one of the most powerful fluency tools ever, because when you talk to yourself, you're not afraid of mistakes. You're free to express anything, and you're constantly thinking in English. You can do it. Anytime, while walking, cooking, or even getting ready in the morning. Describe what you're redoing, what you're thinking, or how you feel. Say things like, I'm getting dressed. I feel tired, but I'll finish this. I'm planning my day. I'm going to have breakfast now. These small moments become powerful practice. Let's do a short daily routine example together. I woke up early today. I brushed my teeth, made some tea, and checked my messages. Now I'm watching an English video to start my day. Simple, real, effective. That's the sound of natural English in everyday life. Now let's move into something even more emotional. Believing in your identity as an English speaker. You're not trying to speak English anymore. You are an English speaker. It doesn't matter if you have an accent or make small mistakes. Fluency is about connection, not imitation. Say softly with me. I am an English speaker. I express myself clearly and confidently. My voice in English is strong and natural. Feel the power of those words sink in. That's your new identity taking shape. Confident, calm, and connected through language. Now, let's imagine how your English life will look if you keep going for the next few months. You wake up and think in English automatically. You hear a podcast and understand most of it easily. You join a conversation and reply naturally without translating. You start to enjoy speaking, not because it's perfect, but because it's you. That's where all these phrases are leading you, to a place of natural comfort with the language. And remember, every small action you take brings that future closer. Every phrase you repeat, every sentence you speak, every mistake you make, it's all part of your growth. So, no matter where you are right now, beginner, intermediate, or advanced, never compare yourself to others. Your journey is yours alone. You're not late. You're not behind. You're learning at your own rhythm, and that rhythm is perfect for you. Repeat softly, I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm improving every day. Fluency is already within me. Now, take a moment to breathe deeply. Feel proud of how far you've come in this lesson. You've practiced phrases, connected ideas, learned natural tone, and built emotional connection with the language. That's what real fluency looks like. Quiet confidence, gentle persistence, and a heart that never stops learning. So, keep walking on this path with trust and joy. Every single phrase you've learned in this masterclass is a building block, a piece of your new English voice. You're not just learning to speak, you're learning to express your soul in another language. You've reached the final part of this advanced English fluency masterclass. Take a slow breath and let yourself feel proud for staying with me through this journey. You've not only listened to hundreds of real daily phrases, but you've also practiced the rhythm, tone, and mindset of natural English speaking. Now, let's finish together by bringing everything we've learned into real-life application. A full-circle fluency practice that connects your thoughts, feelings, and words. Let's begin with a reflection. Think about the last few times you used English in real life. Maybe ordering food, talking online, writing an email, or practicing with a friend. How did it feel? Maybe you were nervous at first. Maybe you paused a lot. Maybe you made small mistakes, but you know what? You spoke, you communicated, you connected. That's fluency in action. Every time you speak, even when it's imperfect, you're teaching your brain to become more confident in English. So now, let's repeat some final affirmations together. Let these words become part of your daily mindset. I can speak English naturally. I use real English every day. I feel calm and confident when I speak. I understand people more easily now. I'm proud of how far I've come. Beautiful. Now, imagine yourself in a simple conversation with someone in English, at a cafe, at work, or online. You greet them. You ask questions. You share opinions. You listen. You react. You smile as you speak because you're no longer worried about what comes next. You just flow naturally. That's where you are heading. A place where English feels like breathing. Let's do one last speaking exercise together. A real-life fluency scene. Imagine someone says, "Hey, how have you been?" You answer, "I've been good, just keeping busy." "What about you?" They say, "I've been learning new things lately." You respond, "That's great. What kind of things?" They say, "I started learning photography." You say, "Really? That sounds interesting. I've always wanted to try that." See how natural that feels. No translation, no hesitation, just connection. Now, take a moment and speak freely for a few seconds. Describe your day, your thoughts, your plans. Use the phrases you've learned here. Don't worry about grammar, just let the words flow. When you do this daily, your English voice will become effortless and full of life. And remember, fluency is not a final goal. It's a journey you continue every single day. Some days you'll speak smoothly, some days you'll feel stuck, but every day you'll move forward if you keep showing up. So promise yourself right now to keep learning, gently, patiently, and joyfully. Say it softly with me. I will keep learning. I will keep practicing. I will keep believing in myself. You've already proven that you can stay committed. This 30-minute masterclass is proof of that. And every word you've repeated, every phrase you've practiced, has brought you closer to true fluency. Now, let's close this lesson with a calm reflection. Imagine yourself 1 year from now. You walk into a room, someone speaks to you in English, and you answer confidently, without hesitation, with a smile. Your thoughts and words move together, effortlessly. That's your future, fluent, clear, and confident. And it all starts with what you're doing right now. Repeat softly with me. My English is improving every day. I speak clearly and confidently. Fluency is becoming natural to me. Remember, the goal isn't to know every word. It's to be able to express yourself with warmth and honesty. And you already can. Let me remind you once more. Small steps lead to big change, one phrase at a time, one practice at a time, one conversation at a time. Don't rush it. Enjoy the rhythm of learning. Enjoy the feeling of progress. Enjoy the quiet confidence that grows inside you with every sentence you speak. And whenever you doubt yourself, come back to this masterclass. Listen again. Repeat the phrases out loud. Feel how much you've grown. Because the truth is, you already sound better than you think. You've learned how to greet people naturally, express feelings and opinions, agree and disagree politely, tell stories with rhythm, and connect emotionally through English. You've built the habits, the tone, and the mindset that define true fluency. So, keep this energy with you as you continue learning, and whenever you speak English next, whether to a friend, a teacher, or even to yourself, speak with confidence, warmth, and joy. You deserve to sound fluent. You deserve to express yourself freely. You deserve to feel proud of your English journey. And I'm proud of you for making it this far. Now take one last deep breath, smile, and say this one last time with me. I am a fluent English speaker. Congratulations. You've completed your Advanced English Fluency Masterclass. Keep practicing, keep believing, and keep shining through your words. Because English isn't just a language anymore, it's part of who you are. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Stay confident, stay curious, and keep speaking from your heart. Until next time, this is Natasha, wishing you happiness, peace, and endless fluency. See you soon.